All right. Good evening, everyone. This is Tim Palmer. Another episode of Looper Talk. All right. So let's let's go ahead and get the known shit out of the way. Um, I have a lot of underlying stuff I needed to say about the PGA of America and the PGA Tour. So my PGA Politics series it's a showcase that lets me panel my frustrations somewhere in hopes that somebody hears my story and hears what I've went through, and in hopes that they will do something about it, or maybe point me in the direction to where I can do something about it. So to pivot from that, I want you all to know that this is going to be not super serious of a podcast. There's going to be some moments, and there's going to be hopefully some moments where we don't talk golf. We just talk about random shit. Conspiracy theories would be amazing. But I really want this podcast to be reflecting what it's like to have a conversation with a caddy. So I want the discussions to be very open. I don't want them to be very serious about golf all the time. I would like to broaden my horizon so that I can learn from you all and talk about some stuff that's not golf related. Because us golfers, we know we could talk golf until you're blue in the face, but after a while, you can only talk so much about golf. So, this episode, I made it a light and fluffy one. We're going to talk about why I'm caddying, why it captivated me, what I enjoy about it, the pros and cons, some stories, just kind of the overall gist of it. But let's talk. Actually, let's get into caddy corner. Got to get that going. So let's move on over to the caddy corner.
It's a bread on the plate, she a eater. Needs a bread on the plate for the feature. I'm a beast, the boy, I'm a creature.
All right. Today's not about a tip necessarily. I just want to speak to you all about the last caddy corner. We talked about the trust issues, the reallys. Well, lately I had a caddy I saw and a player go through this exact situation. So it's been 8 holes. The caddy has been given excellent reads. Sure, maybe it breaks a little bit more, a little less, but on the right hole, on the right side of the hole, he's got good speed reads. He's doing a really good job, in my opinion. You can tell he knows what he's doing, right? And so we get to the 8th hole, and mind you, this is the very first day of the job, and so anytime it's the very first day of the job, caddies, we tend to get a little nervous unless it's a request. If we don't really know you, we tend to kind of camouflage who we are, because our job, we have to read the room so well that we end up having to suppress ourselves in order to accommodate most people. So for a caddy, when he meets somebody brand new, and I'm sure for the players it's the same way, you're spending all this money and time, but for a caddy, it's a very particular situation, because we have done it for so long, some of us, that it's hard not to be judgmental. So we try to stay out of that frame of mind as much as we can. So anyways, back to the story. Brand new job for the guy. 8 holes in. He's reading putts well. We get to this putt. It's a 12-footer. It's like a right edge, right center read. It's not doing a lot. And he goes, "What do you have here?" And the caddy's like, "Oh, it's inside right. Maybe split the edge. Not moving a lot." And the player goes, "Whoa, whoa. I had it a cup out left." And the caddy goes, okay, well, your vacation, Pards. You can hit it where you like. I'm not going to change my read. Obviously, they got a little chuckle from the fellow players. And so the guy putts the ball. Of course, it goes a little left. And he literally looks at the caddy and he goes, oh, yeah, that went a little left. No shit. I mean, holy fuck, dude. You've been with him for 8 holes. I'm sure he's told you how. I mean, he's a 10-year plus veteran out there. And you literally were like, dude, I don't see that. I'm going to aim a cup left. Oh, it broke a little left. You're like, man, let me remind you players, please, God, if you don't shoot well, we don't think we're getting paid well. So understand, it's like flying an airplane. The insurance you have on flying an airplane is what? The pilot's life. That is the best insurance you have. That's the main insurance you have. So when you turn that into the caddying world, the caddy is driving that ship of your golf ball through that round. Therefore, if you do not perform well, the caddy feels at fault to an extent. So, there's not one single caddy, unless they absolutely hate you. There is not one single caddy that is going to tell you a misread on purpose. I promise you. Internalize it. If you don't trust him or her, fucking internalize it and just go about your day. It's that simple. The minute you start talking about it publicly, the player ends up looking stupid, and I feel bad. But two, you end up shooting your own self in the foot for no reason. You're paying this individual money to help you out. Why? Anyways, that was I got a chuckle out of that. That was amazing for me to witness that. So, all right, let's talk about caddying. Why? Why did I choose caddying? The first off gate is the pay is good. Now, compared to your assistant pros, head pros, yes, I'm making more than them. Now, how much more? General manager salary probably. It just depends on the year. But yes, I make cash, which is nice. That means I can be my own investor. And I think the freedom of making my own schedule with that pay is amazing. I can work 10 days in a row. I can work 15 days in a row. I can work 2 days out of the week. There's no set schedule, which is really cool. And with the pay being good. So here's a story. I'm an intern, and I am doing one of my internships, and caddy club guy, it was him and his wife that were caddies, and little guy shows up, gets an envelope, hands it to the gentleman, the caddy, and the caddy just pulls out the money and counts it. Probably like $2,000, $2.5 grand. This was 10 years ago. And the guy says, yeah, we're going to give you more at the end. This is just your initial pay. Thank you all for coming to be here. And the caddy looks at me and winks and walks away. And I'm just like, okay, there's no way I'm going in a pro shop to fold shirts. If I'm watching these mugs out here make $2-3 grand in an envelope of cash, no brainer. But what got interesting for me was when you get done with your PGA program and you get done with the capstone and you have everything ready, you can't be a Class A member unless you acquire a position that's stated within their manual that's acceptable enough to give you this Class A membership. I know, it's got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. I think it's A3, A8, A15, assistant teach. Who gives a shit, dude? I think A3 is PGA Tour anyways, so I don't know. Point was, I ain't folding shirts, babysitting members for a living. So I wanted to um, find an avenue that was adequate for me, physical exercise, all that stuff. So um, that was tied in with the pay. I think what's really good is, like I said, the freedom. You you don't have the same boss. Your bosses change. You don't really have a boss. You have clients that you work for. Now, if you're at a different caddy club that has like CI or whatever, sure, you're at the discrepancy of the golf course, but there's no one telling you how to do your job. You're doing things your way, how you see fit, really. So, I think the freedom part of it is excellent. It is absolutely something I will have a hard time if I ever have to in the future go to a normal job, because again, if I don't want to work Friday, I just check it off. Sweet. No one's telling me, no, you gotta be, we have this done on Friday. But no, I decide what I want to do, and that's just, you can't. Like I said, you're not having a boss, and you're doing it your way. That's perfect. And to pivot off of that, what I found really enjoyable is helping these golfers out. I believe that's the core for me on why I enjoy caddying. It's the main reason why I even joined the golf business, was to be a to be a help for somebody, to impact, especially a young kid, to impact somebody's life that way, and to be a part of their journey when it comes to golf. And I think me coming from the PGA of America, and me being taught how to speak to these players, how to teach them a certain way, what to look for, personality type mirroring and stuff. And I think caddying is one of the best ways to not only help golfers, but to learn how to help golfers. Because I think a lot of teachers get lost into teaching the golf swing. And that's so normal, because most of us, and I agree, if we're not a good ball striker, it's going to be really hard for us to think that we're going to play good golf. And as a teacher, we tend to get lost in the swing mechanics. Everything has to be a structured, everything's in a box. We have to do things these certain ways. And what I have learned a lot from caddying is the individual is so subjective that as a teacher, we have to be better at realizing that each individual is their own person. And the way I say things and the way I go about things might work for somebody, but then not work for someone else. And as a caddy, you learn how to mirror these people's personalities in order to help them out. And I think with these golf professionals that are teaching, they have to do very similar conversation tactics to get the point across. And that's something that as a caddy, you learn immediately that these topics shouldn't be so concrete when it comes to the golf swing. There's a lot going on when we're playing golf. You have mental, you have the physical, you have the variables outside, and then not to mention you have, the mood of the individual. How are they feeling? Are they, up for it, this and that? So I think what I really enjoy about caddying is you get a first-hand experience on what the average golfer goes through on the golf course, in all parts, physical, mental, everything. And to be a good teacher, in my opinion, we don't teach someone how to swing the club correctly. We teach them how to play their best golf. And that changes by the person. We can't assume every my singular method, that's what's going to work for everyone. That's a to me that's very counterproductive. It doesn't allow the individual to grow how they should or what they feel like they should. it forces people to think. So, like, here, let me give you an example, right? Let's talk about something basic in the golf swing that's been coming up. Okay, the lead wrist, how it's bowed. And what I mean by bowed is here's flexed, here's bowed. The old DJ, Jordan Spieth's doing it, and so where I agree, the flatter your lead wrist gets, the easier it is for the club to shallow, which will then allow you to maintain your spine angle, which creates more consistent hits. But Bobby Jones, Rory McIlroy, there's a lot of guys that have a slightly cupped wrist. So we can't, Sam Snead, we can't assume, I called it the Palmer flex, believe it or not, but we can't assume that thought is this cure-all pixie dust that's going to work for everybody, because we have to understand changing something like that. If I force somebody to have a lead wrist a little flatter at the top, not only are they going to have to work on that, they're going to have to change their release patterns to match that, right? Their swing is adapted to certain wrist conditions at the top of their swing. And so the minute I force that individual to change their swing or change their mechanics of their swing, I have to be very careful in understanding what I'm changing. Because if I change something like that, even though it's a small change, that can create a ripple effect on the entire golf swing. And if that is the case, you can actually ruin somebody's golf swing with one simple tip. That's how fragile it is. And look at Charles Barkley. He obviously got a hold of somebody. Someone tried to teach him something, and poof, he ended up with a hitch. I don't know. God bless me if that ever happens to me. I'd lose my shit. But see, what I'm saying is, to tie all this shit in, being a caddy really helps me, at least, understand what the core issues are with golfers, and where can I start to improve this individual on the golf course. Instead of being so hyper focused on the range, we can really focus on the true core issues of why this individual isn't scoring well. And that's the end game, is we want to score well. We want to get that number down. And so to get that number down, there's a bigger picture that everything has to come together. And as a golf professional that strictly teaches, you have a hard time understanding that, not from your own perspective. Because when you go and you think back to these moments on the golf course, you're thinking back to what you deal with and how you deal with it. Whereas me as a caddy, I'm seeing multiple people deal with certain situations differently. Therefore, I am creating a database within myself to help others understand what can be done, what I have seen done, and maybe that'll open the floor to allow them to think individually. You know? God, do you know shit? By the way, I have a jar. It's got like $29. You got a 20, a 5, $2 bills. Let me know, boys, girls. Fucking you knows, dude. God. All right, so where are we at now? Let's think. So let's pivot from that. First thing, pay is good and the freedom's great. That's awesome. Second part was helping golfers. I went into depth about, well, he's a golf pro, so he can pivot off of, or I've been using pivot a lot. Being a golf pro, I get tickled about little shit like helping people out. So to help someone out, I think is a very positive for me. Let's go from there. This is the one thing about caddying I think is amazing, is we're outside. Especially in my office, Bandon Dunes. That is one of the best offices you can have. And I say that with a grain of salt because there are some days I can't believe I'm actually doing it. Hailing sideways. I mean, what I might do is I might share a video. That's what I'll do. I'll share a video that will show you what I'm talking about. It's brutal. Oh, it's just brutal. I think you got your line. Get that speed down. Hey, PGA Tour, you. All right, so after that video, you can see. Ain't some days are great. I'll show you a picture here of a good day I had recently. What I really enjoy, besides all that, is this walk with nature. And I'm a spiritual person. I wouldn't say religious because I don't really believe in churches. I think they're corrupt. But I do believe in God and Jesus, and I'm a big spiritual guy. And I think, as I cuss all over the place, but what I find very soothing is walking on God's green earth. Whether it's manicured or not, I know, but to be in the open air, smelling the roses, that is amazing. That to be able to work and to have that accessibility to an environment like that is worth everything to me. So I would put being able to be a part of nature, that's got to be up there for me. Sitting in a cubicle all day or in a desk, pro shop, breathing in that air conditioned air, and you're so cooped up that you just want to run outside for a minute. I mean, we're not meant to be indoors all day. That sunlight, whether you have an adequate amount or not, that sunlight creating that vitamin D reaction in your body, I think that's one of the biggest thing. Oh, this is interesting. So out here in Oregon, we can get 20 days of rain in a row, 25 days of rain in a row. Dude, it wears me the fuck out. I can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Oregon. It is one of the prettiest parts of the country, if not the prettiest. Especially if you head south, close to the redwood forest. It's amazing. But because of the inadequate sunlight out here on throughout the winter, I believe it creates some personality issues. And so I have found out that people out here use a sun lamp and they'll get a mirror like so, sun lamp on the face, and they do this, I don't know, 20 minutes, an hour a day. It's to help create that vitamin D reaction in your body because that lightens the mood, that takes care of some healing, etc. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, we are coming from North Carolina. That's pretty strange. I don't mind 3 or 4 days in a row of rain, but 20, and I've been through a few of those spells. Not for the faint of heart. No. All right, let's see what my besides walking with nature. Oh, okay. So the most obvious part of caddying that I really enjoy is the networking part. I have met some cool motherfuckers, man. Real, and they know who they are. I don't have to tell them who they are. They know who they are. I mean, souls of the earth, salt of the earth, good dudes. Met some bad ones too. That happens, but more good than bad. And the networking that I have from that is tremendous. It's gotten me on Cypress Point. I have connects in pretty much every corner of the country. Worst case, if I needed to play golf somewhere, I can make a phone call. I think that's one of the more underrated parts of caddying is this accessibility to your clients, and these clients are well-established people. There's quite a bit of, I guess, difference would be the right word, between our lifestyle and their lifestyle when it comes to finances. At the beginning of meeting somebody, it becomes hard for me. I didn't grow up with a lot of money. Sob story there, blah, 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 blah. Who gives a shit? But I was raised to not really respect people with money because, and I agree, if you have all that money and you have all that opportunity, why aren't you doing something with it? And so for me, it was something like, okay, we're just going to hate every rich person my whole life. That's just the way it is. But then I started caddying and I started meeting some of these people. And for an example, would be a guy like Mike Kaiser, who owns Bandit. First time I met him, he was wearing jean shorts and a pullover. And this dude's a billionaire. Pinches me on the arm, introduces himself to me. One of the nicest people I've ever met. He is so gracious. He donated $20-some thousand to the Caddy Fund during COVID. He does a lot for the employees out at Bandon. His kids are following along the same footsteps. That meeting him and seeing what he has done and being a part of that has changed my mind tremendously on judging people by their social class. I have learned a lot from that, and I'm very grateful for that, to be more open-minded when it comes to meeting people, not assuming everything is one way. Really think about how everyone's walk of life is so unique that no matter what their situation is, we have to be very respectful of that. So that really humbled me, would be the best way of putting it. And I'm grateful for that. And so going forward, these network and these connections that I've made, I want to say thank you to you all for being kind to me, for helping me and my family out. And some have donated more than they should have. And because of you all, I am able to raise a family and have a good life. That's something that I will forever cherish. So I'm kind of hard to say that because essentially I'm telling you that I was once an asshole and now I'm half of an asshole because I opened my heart to rich people. But there is some cool people. Not everyone that's rich is a douchebag. Yes, there definitely is plenty. But not everything is on the surface, you know. You know. Fuck. All right. So to finish the episode, I have some questions that I'm going to answer. And I'll have the questions show up on the screen. And then we'll... All right, first question is, what got you to be interested in caddying? We talked about earlier how I did internships. But what did it for me was when I got into PGM school, I was 23. And I've already tried college golf. I lost my scholarship, partied a lot. I went home, did culinary school. I told you all about all that. And so when I passed the PAT, I was like, fuck, there's no way I'm working in a pro shop. And I knew that from the get-go. I've been playing golf since I was 7. And I've had many professionals warn me, don't do it. Just don't do it. Stay away from it. Stay away. So I learned. And when I got into the PGM, I was a little torn because I didn't think I would find a job adequate enough for me. but it beats the hell out of culinary school. So I had a few buddies. They went out to Bandon, and they told me all about the caddy program and how good I would be at it. And I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And I moved out there 2015, asked to be part of the caddy services, and they put me there, and I worked there for about 6 months. Loved every second of it. I knew right then and there. And I was getting some blowback for that. But you can't be a Class A professional and be a caddy. Those two jobs don't mix well together, is what I was told. Lo and behold, here I am, A24, your first elected caddy as a PGA professional. Whoops. Looks like they do mix well. I'm going to start calling that guy Alpha Bird. The Alpha Bird. That's his name. We all know who it is. The Alpha Bird. So yeah, that's what got me into caddying. Was some fellow friends of mine told me you should go check out Bandon Dunes, and I did. Watch it. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't that simple. The Bandon Dunes Caddy Yard is a gem. It is, to me, one of the biggest hidden gems in the golf world. The stories, the people, the environment, it's as good as it gets. I have never laughed so hard in my life. I have never had to play such good golf in my life. I have never had these stories that I've had and the people I have met are incredible. And you'll see them on the show. I will start doing some interviews. It's amazing. It really is. Probably more or less why I've continued to caddy was the caddies that I'd meet along the way. Great people. And yes, women as well. It's not just men. There is tons of good women that are caddies. We have quite a few, and they bust ass. So, it's awesome. All right, next question is favorite moment from caddying. I got one. Cool story. I have a bunch, but this one sings to me the most. I'm on this par 5. I have a gentleman putting, holding the flag. He wants me to tend it. And the group behind us yells 4. And we're like, oh no, what happened? And we look back, and we see this ball bouncing up the fairway going to the green. It must have hit. What an asshole. Now I'm standing there holding the pin, watching it. Well, this ball starts rolling to the hole. So what do? I keep holding the flag. I lift the flag up. It hits the back of the hole. Boop. Goes straight up in the air. Falls right in. I tended a flag for an albatross. Yeah, I know. Wild. He was 235. He hit 3-wood. Little down the hill. Caddy gave him the go-ahead. Glad he did. Ball went in the cup. I lost my shit. I threw the flag like 20 yards off the green. Wailed myself in the eye. Couldn't see for like 9 holes. Don't remember the guy's name, but that was super cool. Because I feel like if I would have kept the flag in, it would have just hit the flag and kicked out. But the fact that I tended it allowed it to hit the back of the hole, which softened it up a little bit, and it just fell right in. I don't know who you are. If you're out there, I don't know if I'm supposed to do that. This is Evia. But you're welcome. For you, dude. And no, it's caffeine-free cola. So, yeah, I know. I'm the one caddy that probably doesn't drink. Smoke weed, though, in case you're wondering. Obviously, you could tell from some of the videos. All right, let's see. What annoys you the most about players? The trust thing doesn't really annoy me. It can, but I understand where they're coming from. So, you're not always going to get a good caddy, right? So, you have to see people and what they've gone through and be like, okay, I understand why they feel that way. The one thing I don't understand, what's in your fucking golf bag, dude? Like, I've had players recently argue with me about bringing an umbrella. It was sunny out. It didn't rain once. We had an umbrella and rain gear, and they go, Well, it's gonna rain. It's not gonna rain. Well, just in case if it does. Dude, this is my ass. My back is what's carrying your shit. Please. 8 balls, 1 jacket, 1 water bottle. That's all you fucking need. If it is raining, put the goddamn rain gear in. No umbrella. No. I'm carrying 2 bags. If you want the umbrella, you carry it with you the whole round. That's you undo it on, whatever you got to do. Get all comfy in your little cocoon. Excuse me, fine. Fine. But I'm not carrying it. I'm just not. So lighten your fucking bags, please. 8 balls, 1 jacket, 1 water bottle. I don't need your tea bag that has all your teas. I don't need your Ziploc container with 6 PB&Js in it. No. If you want to have a bunch of beer, put it in the bag, a bag, carry it with you. More than happy to do that. But if you can't understand that, that is very annoying for me. I would assume most caddies would agree with me. All right. What is one attribute that makes a good caddy? This one to me is a great question, and I think this question, a lot of caddies need to hear this, even myself. What makes a good caddy is how well they read the room. Point proven. You can read all those putts. I don't give a shit. You can give them great numbers. That is fine. But if you don't know how to relay your information, and if you don't know what kind of individuals you're speaking with, they're not going to, one, respect you. Two, they're not going to even care about what you're saying. Because even if your information is correct, if you're really annoying, you're fired. Who gives a shit at that point? So, caddies, if there's anything that we all can work on, is reading the room. Read the room. If they don't want numbers and they say that from the get-go, don't give them fucking numbers. And please stop with trying to teach them the golf swing. That's not what a caddy is. They didn't pay you to get a lesson. They paid you to carry their fucking bag. Give them some tips. Tell them where the hole is. Great. They don't want to learn how to swing the golf club. Stop giving swing advice. That's part of reading the room. It's very simple. Good question. Who was the most famous person you've caddied for? Mine would be Peyton Manning. When I worked at Cherry Hills for a little while. He is a member out there. It's in Denver, obviously. Don't know where he's at now, if he's still there. What would I say about Peyton? He was fine. Not as nice as I thought he would be, but he wasn't mean to me. A few times he did. At one time we were walking. I've probably been with him 5 or 6 times, and Cherry Hills 2 to 3. 3 is a short par 4, and it's kind of a longer walk to the tee, but you can shortcut it by just walking to the fairway and hand the players their clubs. And I never did that. I always walked to the tee box. It would help me see their shots. And as I'm walking with him, he proceeds to say, no, caddy, we don't need you with us. And I said, sir, I have to be there because I can't see the shots. He literally goes, no, dude, shoot. It's actually a really, really big lesson for me, because that moment is when I realized I don't care how famous you are. If someone who's been caddying a long time and has been around famous people, we get it, bud. So let's do this. Let's lighten the fuck up. Understand that most people, they love you and they want your autograph, but most caddies, we just want your money. All right? So, if you want some respect, you're going to have to give it like we're giving it. And not all celebrities are like this, but it's like a 50-50 chance when you're up against a celebrity. They're either really good or they are horrible. No in between. And let's see what the last question is. Ooh, what do you recommend for new caddies? Well, I would say it depends on what they are, how experienced they are in golf. If you have a really experienced caddy or a really experienced player that is just starting to caddy, I would trust your instincts on the knowledge you've gained. Definitely, you don't have to relearn the game. But what I would do is start learning about reading the room kind of situations. Let's do some studying on personality. Let's do some psychoanalysis on mental game stuff. Maybe that'll help me relay better information during certain situations, right?
Hi.
What are you doing?
I'm bed.
Can I have a hug, Ski?
Yeah.
You want to say hey to the camera?
No.
Come on!
No.
Come on!
No.
I want lovies! Come on, give me loves. Come here. I want lovies! That is my stepdaughter. I have 3 kids, 7, 2, and 1. Yeah, pretty much. Hell on wheels. Daughter does great. The boys are piss and vinegar. So, experienced caddy. Let's learn some mental stuff. Maybe figure out how to get better at reading the room. Now, new caddies that have no golf experience, this is what I would do. I would not start caddying until I have been playing golf for at least 6 months. Minimum. You need to learn all the ins and outs, what a par is, what a tee box is, what a club head is. You got to learn all that. And the more you know, the better you sound. The better you sound, the more they'll trust you, right? So for new caddies, if you want to eventually start carrying bags, keep the job you have, play golf as much as you can for 6 months minimum, even a year. And once you learn the game, once you figure that out, then you can start to get into a caddy yard, go that route. But a new caddy that's never played golf before, that's like paying an electrician that has zero idea how to wire a house. But you're paying this electrician anyways because he calls himself one. Can't. It's not how it works. I understand that you're doing a job, you must get paid, but if you want to survive and last long in that job, then you need to do your homework. So, new caddies, play some golf, get better at it, get used to that environment. Being around a golf course too would really help. I believe that's it, folks. I don't have much more to say about caddying. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Feel free to throw some down if you all want a topic that you want me to talk about. I got plenty I can talk about. Let's see what the next one is. I think we're going to talk about Q School next. But I think, yeah, Q School is next. My whole goal with this podcast is to have an open forum for caddies, and also have an open forum for anybody, really. And to have a conversation with me, I want it to be similar to what you would have on a golf course if you had a caddy, right? So it doesn't have to be golf. If anything, please make it not about golf. That way I can learn. I'll do my research as well. I will start having guests on soon, so that'll be fun. If you want to be on the show and you're a caddy, let me know. We'll make it work. But I wonder how many no's I have. Shit, it's probably another $20 bill in there. That Evans fund is going to be loaded by the end of this whole year. All right, well, thank y'all for tuning in. My name is Tim Palmer. This is Looper Talk. And remember, 200 a strap, lighten your fucking bags, baby. It's actually lighten your bags, 200 a strap. Perfect. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for tuning in.